Well, I am here for my swimming lesson.
What are you wearing?
Oh, well, I just wanted to be prepared.
Oh, dear.
Oh, and I'm sorry I'm late.
Oh, that's all right, Johnny. The water doesn't mind.
Oh, thank you.
The only thing is it's almost time for my watercoloring lesson with the fuzzies, and then, oh my gosh, I have a yoga session with Ginger, and after that, plant watering with Basil, and then I have to clean up the water. What?
Breathe.
Oh.
She's sparkly, she's swimmy, she's Lily. A new Sprite on Johnny and the Sprites. A new half-hour TV show weekend mornings at 10, 9 Central on Playhouse Disney.
See you real soon.
Bring your bathing suit.
Hello, my beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode of the happiest cast on Earth, the show where we review anything and everything that was somehow released by the Walt Disney Corporation. I am your host, as always, Ryan Johnson, and welcome to a very special Thanksgiving episode of the happiest cast on Earth. Sadly, I could not get a guest for this week, but that won't stop us from having a very fun time, especially with this being yet another online exclusive episode not to be aired on the radio, which means we can swear in this, although I doubt that I would be swearing given the subject matter of this episode in particular, that being Season 1, Episode 3 of Johnny and the Sprites, a Playhouse Disney series titled Johnny's Sister and Spritesgiving. I had to remind myself what the titles of the episodes were. Now, with a little bit of a background, I have never seen this show, never heard of this show either, which is weird because I did watch Playhouse Disney back in the day, back when it was called Playhouse Disney before it got turned into Disney Junior. But yeah, I did not watch this show, even though it was right in the era of the time where I would be young enough to have watched these types of shows. It stars John Targallini, I believe his name was, who not only was the star of this show, but he was also the creator and one of the writers and producers, and he was also, I found this out, the guy who was the original Princeton in Avenue Q. So to go from Avenue Q to this, that's pretty crazy if you'd ask me. Although it's not completely shocking given on how, well, they're both puppets at the end of the day, and this type of gig is way more common for a puppeteer than Avenue Q is. Some other familiar faces that show up in this are two Sesame Street puppeteers, namely the puppeteers and voices for Abby Cadabby and Rosita. I was able to recognize them mainly because they use the exact same voices that they use for those characters. I mean, if something works, you use it, I guess. So yeah, not a whole lot to talk about going into these episodes in particular, so let's just go ahead and cut the crap and jump right into it. We will be right back with Johnny and the Sprites, Johnny's sister / Spritesgiving, here on the happiest cast on Earth.
And now, our feature presentation.
Okay, so to start things off, I'd like to go over the theme song to the show, where we're instantly shown that John Tortellini has a very good singing voice. I mean, the dude was on Broadway, so naturally, he's gonna sound pretty good. This is a true story. When I was watching it for the very first time, I knew I heard this voice before. This voice sounded so familiar. Like where have I heard this voice before? I don't know the face, but I know the voice. But then once he started singing his song in the episode, I was like, okay, I know that voice. Is that Princeton? Hold up, let me look it up. Yeah, it was Princeton from Avenue Q, which who would have guessed? So yeah, the theme song actually gives us very important pieces of exposition, namely the fact that Johnny, who's just a self-insert character for John Tortellini, I'm just figuring out, writes music, and he moves into the woods so he could write some music. And while he's here, he meets these magical creatures called the Sprites, and there's about 5 of them, and the leader is this guy named Sage, who's also voiced and puppeteered by John Tortellini. However, the biggest piece of information that's given to us in the theme song is that only Johnny can see the Sprites. No other human can. Why is this the case? I don't know, but it really doesn't affect the episodes that I had to watch here today. So the first episode was called Johnny's Sister, and Johnny's Sister is about Johnny's sister coming to visit him. And we get a nice little song about what a sister is, because the Sprites don't have siblings. Makes you wonder how their species even works. Because, like, are they born? Do they just hatch out of the ground? Like, does a mythical beast just pop them out of the sky or something? Regardless, they don't have sisters or brothers, so Johnny has to sing them a song about what it is. And they have a nice chat whenever the sister does get here. They act a little bit more like children than young adults. Although, granted, I guess when you are with your sibling, you do kind of resort back to what you did when you were a kid. Kind of. Mainly just picking on them and bullying them and bringing up cringy things they used to do. So, I guess in that case, they kind of did accurately depict what it's like to have a sibling. And surprisingly, the visit goes off without a hitch, only seeing a weirdly shaped tomato that this really freaking annoying puppet named Root ended up making. I actively hate the voice for Root. They are obnoxious, and I hate them, and I hope that harm comes upon them. A few extra notes here. They mention a maple syrup lasagna, which sounds exactly like something that would come out of either Scooby-Doo's or Michelangelo's cookbook. But we also have a secret handshake between the two siblings, which, I don't know about you guys, but me and my sister definitely have a secret handshake that we would do all the time. Like, every single day we would do this secret handshake. Like, I don't know why you guys are looking at me like that's something siblings don't do. Every single sibling has a secret handshake. That's just fact. Now, the one thing that actually does really bother me about this episode is that Johnny doesn't tell his sister about the Sprites. I know, like, she can't see them, really, but Johnny still tries to hide them anyway. So, like, the intro says that, like, only he can see them, so why does he even bother trying to hide them? And yes, I know it's a show for preschoolers, but the show establishes a set of rules, so excuse me for expecting the show to follow its own rules.
Am I the only one around here who gives a shit about the rules?
But of course you might be wondering, well, how did they solve the overgrown tomatoes? The fat guy eats them. That's all you can want, really, because he's fat and he likes food. Moving right along to the second segment in this episode, we have the Thanksgiving episode of this Thanksgiving special, that being Spritesgiving. It opens not with Johnny addressing the audience, which is weird because he does do that in the first episode. Like, you know, like the Sesame Street Mr. Rogers type intro where, "Oh, hello there, thank you for joining us." But he doesn't do that. Instead, he's just like, I'm about to have my friend over for food. We never get to see this friend, although I did do some research, and this character, her name is Gwen, is a series regular, so who knows, maybe she was just kind of off screen just kind of chilling. Either way, this actually ends up being perfect timing because the Sprites are having their very own dinner holiday called Spritesgiving, which is literally just Thanksgiving and everything but name. Which, I'm surprised that with this being the type of show it is for its type of audience, that Johnny just doesn't straight up reference Thanksgiving in any ways. So everybody has their own special job to do, and this nerdy little sprite, I forget his name. I should have wrote it down. He is in charge of getting all the vegetables. And so he sings a song about how awesome the Spritesgiving is going to be until he notices that his tomato has turned blue and it tastes bad. It doesn't taste like a tomato. And he also notices that the cucumber has turned purple. That's just an eggplant at this point, and I can think of a good list of things that you can do with that. But I won't say them because this is a kids show. Dang it. So basically, what is happening to all of these vegetables is that they are affected by a forgetful fungus, which is a fungus that makes food and vegetables forget what they're supposed to do. Because I guess in this universe, food is sentient. Because in the previous segment, what was her name? Friggin' Root. That was their name. Root mentioned, like, talking to a vegetable. Now, I initially thought that it was, like, normally, like, talking to give it motivation to grow. But I guess this episode implies that the food is actually sentient. So, that's something that exists in the universe of Johnny and the Sprites. Get Quentin reviews on that. So, him and Johnny, they get together to try and figure this out. And one of the weirdest things they do is that they try to get the tomato red again by tickling it. And there's this really weirdly edited sequence where Johnny is tickling the tomatoes super fast and he gets out of breath from doing it. That was somebody's awakening, I can tell you that. And apparently all it takes for somebody with the forgetful fungus to turn back to normal is to simply remind the food on what it's supposed to be. Which, hang on a second, didn't that happen earlier during the song where he was like, but tomatoes are supposed to be red? I don't know. But it works this time, apparently. So all the food is back to normal. The Sprites have their Spritesgiving dinner. And they don't invite Johnny because I guess they don't give thanks to their friends. That's a little sad. Anyway, those are the episodes. I will admit, some of these things in these episodes really kind of bother me. But not too much. There's really not that much that I can say about the show critically or analytically or whatever the fancy word you want to say is, because at the end of the day, this really is just a simple children's show with puppets that are magical and they sing songs, and yeah, there's really not much I could say about this show. If you got kids, they might like it. On a scale of 1 to 5, I'd probably give it a good old 3. I definitely won't watch it again, probably not, but the target audience will enjoy it, and, it's got some good puppetry and some decent music, so I might watch it with my kids, if I ever have kids. I'll be forever alone. But anyway, guys, that will be it for this week's episode of the Happiest Cast on Earth. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please be sure to subscribe and leave a review and recommend this show to all of your friends and enemies. It will help the show grow. And please be sure to join us next week, where we will do our very first Christmas episode on the cult Christmas classic, Bad Santa. But until then, I will see you later. Bye!